What if the world's greatest hero turned out to be its biggest threat? That's how the story begins for our protagonist, Leo, the legendary warrior celebrated across the human realm as the strongest fighter alive. One day, the kingdom calls upon him to complete a critical mission: destroy the demon army led by the fearsome Queen Echidna, whose forces have been laying waste to entire cities. Leo, loyal to his duty, gathers 3 allies to take on the threat, but soon realizes they're totally unqualified. The swordsman is clueless about magic, the healer refuses to learn anything but recovery spells, and the archer, useless in close combat. So, Leo, a royal knight trained in all forms of battle and advanced sorcery, decides to fight alone. First, he faces Edvard the Crimson Roar, a half-dragon brute with nearly impenetrable scales. Leo defeats him using a powerful spell. Then, he runs into Myrnas the Shadowless, a lightning-fast demon who wounds him slightly, which was a big mistake. Enraged, Leo unleashes Pinsin Kamui, a massive spell that obliterates the church they were fighting in, leaving Myrns unconscious. The villagers? Furious. They blame Leo for destroying their sacred place. Later, while taking shelter from the rain, Leo meets a cute fox girl who has no memory of who she is. He takes care of her until she regains her memories with a bump on the head. Turns out, she's Lily the Savage Fang, one of the demon generals. She attacks him but is swiftly defeated. And in her tribe, if you lose to someone stronger, you have to marry them. Lily clings to Leo like glue, but he narrowly escapes. Next, Leo faces Chimera the Sorceress, a master of forbidden spells. Predicting her strategy, Leo casts a magic seal that disables all spells in the area. Chimera is forced into melee combat, but she fights like a baby deer. He wins easily, and seeing her beg for her life, decides to spare her. With all 4 generals defeated, Leo finally confronts Echidna, the demon queen. She bombards him with energy blasts, but Leo counters with shields, spells, and flawless dodges. In a dramatic final move, he pierces her forehead gem, the source of her power, and ends the war in a single blow. He did it, alone. Leo returns to the capital expecting praise, but instead, he's met with fear. People whisper behind his back, calling him a monster in human skin. The kingdom, terrified of his power, turns against him. Bounty hunters and assassins come for his head, but no one stands a chance. After all, he soloed a demon army. Then, the king summons him. He thanks Leo for saving the realm and protecting the Philosopher's Stone, but the people want him gone. Even though it hurts, the king must think of the kingdom and banishes Leo. Confused, betrayed, and now homeless, Leo wanders the world. No friends, no home, no purpose. He begins to question everything: why he fought, why he saved a world that doesn't want him. Until one night, he overhears someone mention the demon army is recruiting, and that gives him a crazy idea. The only one who might accept him now is the demon queen. Leo heads to a cave to prepare his pitch. Then he journeys across scorching deserts and brutal mountains until he reaches the ruined demon castle, a place filled with the ghosts of the past. He walks in, wearing a hood to hide his identity. Inside, the queen and her 4 generals are busy rebuilding. Leo steps forward, drops the hood, and reveals himself the same man who defeated them all. But now, he's asking for a job. He introduces himself as a veteran swordsman, who may or may not have stabbed the queen in the forehead, and says he wants to help them rebuild, make the demon realm great again, and maybe make the humans regret what they did to him. After a long silence, Leo thinks his pitch left the demon queen speechless, but she suddenly stands up furious and demands to know why she should let him join her army. Then, she attacks him with a fire blast. Leo tries to explain, but she keeps launching spells at him until the generals are forced to throw him out of the castle. Even after repeated attempts to talk to her, Leo keeps getting rejected. So later, he returns to the castle, this time to speak with the generals privately. Although they're skeptical, Leo reminds each of them how easily he defeated them in battle. Edvard admits it's been a while since he fought someone as powerful as Leo and says he'd be a valuable asset, but his loyalty lies with the queen, especially since he has a daughter to protect. Lily, on the other hand, is thrilled with the idea. She's been in love with Leo ever since he beat her, and even asks when they're getting married. Shutina is still salty about her loss. Without her magic, she stood no chance, and Leo was way too fast. She bluntly asks why he's really here. It's strange for a hero to walk into enemy territory just to join their army. That's when Leo finally opens up. He tells them everything: how he was exiled after saving the world, how the humans turned against him, and how he has nowhere else to go. Lily bursts into tears. Shutina, seeing the pain in his eyes and hearing how he regrets helping the wrong side, starts to believe him. She offers Leo a trial, 1 month in the demon army. If he proves himself, she'll talk to the queen. If he fails, he'll be exiled again. Until then, he must use magic to hide his identity. With no other choice, Leo accepts and asks how he can help. He immediately points out that the army lacks reinforcements, infrastructure is in ruins, mana reactors are broken, the list goes on. That night, as he walks toward the palace, Leo remembers something strange from the final battle. When some demons started slaughtering civilians, the queen herself appeared and yelled at them, furious, because she never ordered indiscriminate killing. Her goal was to invade, but with as little bloodshed as possible. That moment stuck with Leo. She's a demon queen who forbids unnecessary bloodshed. One day, he wants to ask her why. The next morning, Leo wakes up early. He heads to Shutina's room and calls her, but she's still asleep. So, he casts a spell to mimic the queen's voice. Shutina, report on the new recruits. She jumps up, apologizing for sleeping in, and Leo teases her. When she finally opens her eyes and sees it was him, she snaps. She blasts him with ice magic so loudly, it wakes the actual queen, who assumes Shutina had a nightmare. Afterwards, Leo helps clean up the mess. Shutina is still fuming and throws more spells at him, but Leo notices she's weak, not physically, but from exhaustion. After all, many demons fled after the war, leaving only the queen and 4 generals to run everything, and Shutina, being the most knowledgeable, is stuck doing the hardest tasks alone. Seeing how burned out she is, Leo offers to help. She hands him a list of assignments, and Leo chooses to repair the mana reactors, an extremely delicate task. Only the original builders can fix them, since using magic of a different type would destroy them. But Leo insists. Shutina assumes he'll just mimic their mana wavelength with a spell, which isn't too hard. There are over 100 reactors, though, and only 4 left in working condition. Leo promises to fix them in 2.5 hours, which shocks her. Normally just 1 takes over an hour. Confident, Leo casts a transformation spell, taking the form of a black-armored knight, and heads out. 30 minutes later, he returns. Shutina is stunned. He's done already? When she offers him more tasks, Leo says he needs rest. He hasn't replenished his mana in a while. He also casually mentions he'll be using a surveillance spell to study her movements so he can copy her better next time. Shutina reluctantly agrees to let him rest, but after just 2 hours, curiosity gets the better of her. She finds Leo lying around and threatens him with a magic spear. Leo warns that if she attacks now, she might destroy the entire room. Before the situation escalates, someone knocks at the door. Leo quickly transforms again to stay hidden. A young elf enters, informing Shutina that the talisman Leo gave her a gift from Lord Onis is working perfectly. She asks permission to keep using it to stabilize her mana. Turns out, Leo filled the talisman with mana synchronized to Shutina's wavelength, effectively allowing her to operate as if she were the original spellcaster. He turned it into a necklace and gave it to the elf as a tool. Leo spent an hour and 15 minutes repairing the mana reactors, then used the rest of his time teaching Dynate how to use the talisman and when to look for others with the same skill. Shutina is impressed, and thanks Dynate for the help. Feeling he kept his promise to lighten Shutina's workload, Leo advises her to delegate more. Slightly embarrassed, Shutina apologizes for misjudging him. Leo tells her not to worry, everyone has a role to play, and the strong must support others. Before leaving, Leo reminds her of the promise she made earlier that if he finished the task in under 2.5 hours, she'd give him a kiss. He gets close and says he'd accept one on the lips or cheek, or even on the bed. Shutina, blushing and furious, cuts him off with a magical punch stronger than the one that morning. Days later, Leo reflects on Argo, a continent rich in resources and shipwrecks, almost like a tropical vacation. But leading a team there proves difficult, especially with Lily's childish behavior, which makes management a nightmare. That night, Shutina explains that a supply mission must be sent to a dangerous island, but the one in charge of logistics is Lily, and clearly, she's not up to the task. The Demon Queen formed a key alliance with the city of Largo, a place full of demi-humans once mistreated by humans. Thanks to this alliance, the demon army has stayed strong. But now, with food and medicine running low, the mission is urgent. Shutina shows Leo Lily's plans just messy drawings. Leo agrees to take on the mission. Before leaving, he holds Shutina's hand and tells her not to miss him too much. She gets embarrassed and blasts him with magic again. Once in Largo, Lily starts giving absurd orders, and when Leo tries to intervene, no one listens because Lily is technically the leader. The villagers are upset over the damage caused by poor planning, and this risks their alliance. Later, Leo tries to explain to Lily how things should be done, but she just hands him fruit and excitedly announces to everyone that he's her fiancé. Leo quickly denies it, but the chaos continues. Trying to fix things, Leo asks some goblins to help with repairs, but they remind him that all changes must be approved by Lily. Frustrated, he retreats to his tent and reflects. The villagers are angry, and if things don't improve, the entire mission could fail. Lily arrives and sees Leo deep in thought. She asks if he's sick. Leo says he has a headache, and Lily panics, running off to find medicine. Meanwhile, Shutina grows anxious about the mission. She remembers a talk with the queen, who once doubted herself after losing to a mere human. But when Lily entered the room that day, smiling brightly, the queen couldn't help but smile too. Back at the village, Leo decides to help Lily learn leadership. So when she returns, he fakes a deadly snake bite from a snake he summoned himself. He claims no one in town can cure him unless she gathers special herbs. Lily panics and races out. While healing himself, Leo sends a surveillance eye to follow her, setting up a series of tests. Lily transforms into the divine wolf, a deity of her old village, and begins the trials. First, she encounters a spell blocking the path. Physical and magical attacks do nothing. But after several minutes, she finally breaks through. Next, a wall of snipe monsters blocks her way. Leo hopes she'll ask for help, but Lily chooses to go solo. She maneuvers the creatures until they crush the central one. The wall collapses. Then, she meets a villager who warns her about a deep canyon and suggests getting help. This time, Lily listens and returns to town for assistance. Leo is thrilled. Lily finally understood the value of teamwork. But then, she comes back and proudly announces that the villagers convinced her to cross a river alone instead. So she took off alone, again. Leo sighs and tries more tests. But no matter what, Lily overcomes all obstacles by herself. Exhausted, Leo collapses next to the spot where he faked the bite. When he wakes up the next morning, there's a bowl with herbal remnants beside him. Just then, Lily walks in, thrilled that he's okay, and shows him a drawing she made. While searching for herbs, Lily realized that doing everything alone was exhausting. She figured out a simpler way to accomplish the task, proving to Leo that she did grow as a leader, even if not in the way he intended. Days later, Leo returns to the castle and hands the mission report to Shutina. She's genuinely pleased Lily is becoming a strong and capable leader. But then she hands Leo a letter, a summons from the queen herself. The queen wants to meet the Black Knight Oni. Leo freezes, thinking his identity has been exposed. But Shutina calms him down. Maybe the queen just wants to talk. Shutina is still worried about the mysterious knight helping her. After all, he hasn't formally introduced himself to the queen, and if she ever finds out, Shutina would need to step in. But Leo tells her not to worry. If he's discovered, she should pretend she knows nothing. Feeling calmer, Leo decides to speak to the queen the next day. That night, he dreams of a high-tech world. Flying in a helicopter, he receives orders to preserve civilian lives and eliminate every demon. He jumps out of the aircraft and slices a monster in half to save a girl, then swiftly takes out the rest. But what he thought was heroic is seen as terrifying by the citizens. They look at him in fear, as if he's the real monster. Still, Leo doesn't care. His only purpose is saving humanity, no matter the cost. When he wakes up, he realizes it was just a nightmare, but for Leo, bad dreams are always a sign of bad days ahead. Later, dressed in his Black Knight Onus armor, Leo heads to the queen's hall. She's in a cheerful mood and hasn't noticed his disguise a relief. She invites him to a grand banquet, the perfect chance to talk and learn more about her. But Leo is nervous. Any slip could expose him. The meal begins, and everything goes smoothly until the queen, slightly drunk, asks why he never takes off his helmet. She insists on seeing his face. Leo hesitates, then quickly casts a minor illusion spell to change his appearance. His features shift just enough to fool the inebriated queen. She giggles, continues drinking, and forgets about the whole thing. Wanting to end the dinner quickly, Leo offers her more wine. After a few refills, he carefully steers the conversation toward the armor. He tells a made-up story. He was cursed by a goddess and must wear the armor at all times. It works. The queen wonders if he should keep the helmet on longer, but Leo charmingly replies that he's willing to risk it just to spend more time with her. Blushing, she gets even happier. Throughout the night, the queen thanks him for helping Shutina and accompanying Lily. She's impressed with how much he supported the demon army. She officially welcomes him as a member of her forces. Seizing the moment, Leo asks about a certain deuceless warrior who recently tried to join them. The queen's smile vanishes. She says she would never accept someone like that. He was the main reason her plans failed, especially the plan to steal the Philosopher's Stone. Leo realizes now the queen's true goal is the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary artifact said to be hidden in the human capital, Rhinalis. Myths say it was found by the first king over 3,000 years ago, bringing fertility, immortality, and protection from disease. But Leo knows better. He's seen the stone himself. It holds no supernatural power. As their conversation continues, the queen reveals she nearly reached it during the war. She made it to the final chamber and almost touched it. Curious, Leo asks her what she really wanted from it. The queen explains she never wanted war with humans. Her only goal was to obtain the stone. She admits the war was a mistake, but the stone, she believes it's the only hope for her people. Leo suggests she could have tried tricking the humans instead of attacking them to obtain the stone peacefully. The queen says she would have gladly worked with humans if that had been an option. She shares an old tale about an imp who tried to unite humans and demons once, but she believes harmony between the races is impossible. Leo, intrigued, asks what she would do with the stone. She takes him to the castle balcony and shows him the land of the demons, a barren, sunless wasteland with toxic air, contaminated water, and constant conflict. Demons fight each other for scraps. It's a chaotic world full of despair. She tells Leo she wants to change that world, bring light, peace, and prosperity, a life similar to what humans enjoy. That's why the stone is essential. Leo understands her motives, but he also knows that humans would never accept peaceful coexistence. They see demons as beneath them. The queen says she's willing to sacrifice everything to save her people, even if that means accepting humans into her world, or giving them a seat at the table. Leo reflects on her decision during the war, how she tried to avoid unnecessary casualties, which ultimately led to her defeat. The queen admits she doesn't hate the hero who fought her. He was simply protecting his people just as she was. She's fully aware she plays the role of a villain in the human story, but in truth, she's just a leader trying to give her people a better future, forced to make impossible choices. Leo, deeply moved by her honesty, begins to see her in a new light and feels something stir inside him. At that moment, the queen asks Leo about his true reasons for joining the demon army. After reflecting for a moment, Leo decides to be honest. He's ready to reveal that he's actually the hero, Leo, and that his goal is to help her cause. But before he can confess, Shutina and Lily burst in, handing him 2 letters, one from Mearns, the Shadow General, and one from Edward. Mearns says he's leaving on a journey and doesn't want to be followed. Edward, on the other hand, decides to give up his position, feeling guilty for failing to properly train the troops. The queen decides to go after Edward, while Leo promises that once things are settled, he'll come clean about who he truly is. Following Myrna's magical trail, Leo tracks him down. After a short scuffle, Myrna stops fighting. He recognizes Leo's strength. Leo binds him with a magical chain to prevent his escape and demands an answer. Why is he abandoning his role? Hours pass in silence, until Mearns finally opens up. He's struggling with his job interviews. As a general, he's supposed to screen new recruits, but he feels he lacks presence, social skills, and the right attitude. As someone who only interacts with spies and spirits, Mearns admits his communication skills are poor, and that could be a real problem. He asks Leo to help him improve in just 3 days. Leo is stunned, this cold, silent assassin asking for social help, but he agrees. Leo says social skills aren't something you're born with. They're built through practice. Mearns admits he never asked for help before because he didn't want to bother anyone. Everyone's too busy and he just doesn't know how to approach people. Leo, touched by this honesty, fully accepts the task. Back at the castle, Leo informs the queen and the generals of Mearns' request. The queen is surprised by Mearns' commitment and praises Leo's work. Leo then asks about Edward. The queen reveals she found him trying to stab himself, but Edward's skin is so tough, the blade couldn't pierce it. In the end, they left him with his daughter, Juliet, hoping that being with her might calm his self-destructive thoughts. The next day, Leo and Mearns begin training as waiters in the castle kitchen. Mearns, mortified by the maid dress he's forced to wear, doesn't understand the purpose. Leo explains that staying disguised is key, especially for a feared general like him, and due to his small frame, a woman's outfit was the only one that fit. Leo assures him that this exercise will help with basic social interaction. The head chef tells Mearns to smile more. His serious face is scaring customers. Leo explains that socializing is tough at first, but gets easier with time. He himself struggled in the past, but improved over the years. The kitchen is the perfect place to practice. Direct interaction is vital. Suddenly, a group of wolf mercenaries enters the tavern. Their leader, seeing Mearns in a dress, starts groping him. Without hesitation, Mearns grabs him in a lock and threatens to snap his arm if he does it again. The other wolves try to intervene, but Mearns knocks them all down effortlessly. Shocked, the mercenaries apologize, but some patrons begin suspecting Mearns' true identity due to his combat skills. Leo congratulates him. Not only did he defend himself, but he communicated clearly and effectively. Mearns, feeling encouraged, asks what comes next. Leo decides to simulate a real interview with himself as the recruit. During the roleplay, Mearns gets serious. He notices Leo dodging a specific question. Why did he join the demon army? Leo had previously claimed his goal was to destroy humanity, but Mearns doesn't buy it. He presses harder. Why hasn't he taken revenge on demons if he has the power too? Leo is stunned by Mearns' intuition and tries to sidestep, but Mearns isn't fooled. Then, Mearns shares part of his own story. Born half human and half demon, he was sold into slavery as a child. He went through countless masters and trials, eventually becoming a deadly assassin. His hatred for humans grew stronger over time. Yet, when the Demon Queen recruited him, she told him he could spare human lives, which caused a deep conflict within him. At first, he hated her decision. Why spare the enemy? But over time, he joined the demon army under false pretenses, still consumed by anger, but unsure of his path. Leo listens, realizing the deep internal war Mearns is fighting. Until now, he hadn't seen that pain. That night, a village festival takes place, a celebration in honor of the queen, who freed them from a corrupt human governor and gave them a freedom they never thought possible. But Mearns can't celebrate. He doesn't understand how they can party when he originally joined the demon army to exterminate all of humanity. He even planned to kill the queen and take control of the army if necessary. Everything changed the moment he met Leo. Mearns remembers what Leo told him after their fight, how Leo, instead of killing him, chose to let him live. Leo warned him that if he didn't spare him, he might one day wipe out all of humanity. But more than a threat, Leo gave him advice to go outside, explore the world, and find something that truly amazed him. If, after that, he still wanted to die, Leo would personally grant his wish. As Mearns reflects on those words, he realizes that Leo's true motive was never to destroy mankind. His demeanor is completely different from his own. Leo fights with purpose, not hate. And when he looks back at the demon army, Mearns sees they aren't what he once thought. Shutina, though awkward, always keeps her cool. Lily, wild and impulsive, is full of good intentions. And himself, the cold-hearted assassin, now faces a deep inner conflict, a feeling that became even stronger after learning of Leo's exile. Leo, sensing this emotional weight, gently tells Mearns not to cry. He feels guilty for touching such a vulnerable part of him. So, Leo decides to reveal his truth. Though it makes him uncomfortable to share something so personal, he explains how the world they live in wasn't always like this. Before the demons appeared, Earth was an advanced human-only society, technologically superior and thriving. But one day, a massive crater opened in Tokyo, and demons began to emerge. In desperation, humans created Project Demon Air, a program that infused demonic power into chosen individuals to create invincible warriors. Among them was Leo. From the moment he woke, Leo was the hero, the savior of mankind. But unlike the other heroes, he never aged. As time passed, the others died in battle or from age. Cities fell, wars raged on. Yet Leo remained, protecting scattered survivors and fighting off every threat. Eventually, Leo realized that humanity had grown too dependent on him. And when they finally exiled him, he wasn't angry, he was relieved. For the first time in centuries, he could live for himself, free of a burden he never chose. Mearns, stunned, asks how old Leo really is. But Leo admits he doesn't know anymore. After 1,000 years, he stopped counting. At that moment, Mearns realizes Leo wasn't just helping him communicate. Leo needed to open up too. For the first time in ages, someone had truly listened. Over time, Leo had come to see the Queen's army as a rare balance, a group worth protecting. And now, determined to help them obtain the Philosopher's Stone, Leo vows to do whatever it takes to build a better future for everyone. Mearns is so overwhelmed by this revelation that he falls asleep. Meanwhile, Leo quietly reflects on everything he just shared. The next day, Leo speaks with Yarietta, Edward's daughter. She explains that after sending a group of rookies to fight a chimera and watching them fail, Edward blamed himself. He believed the recruits couldn't win because they weren't as strong as him, and he saw that as a personal failure. Leo gently tells her that while Edward may be a powerful warrior, that doesn't make him a good teacher. Teaching requires empathy and skill, things not every fighter has. He shares his own thoughts on what it means to fight for others, and how not everyone needs to be equally strong to be valuable. Yarieta then reveals that her father has been pushing himself hard in secret and pushing his trainees even harder to dangerous levels. Some have collapsed from the intensity. Leo reflects on Edward's mindset and promises Yarieta he'll handle it. Meanwhile, Murns confides in Shutina and Lily, sharing everything Leo told him the night before. His words make Shutina begin to question Leo's true intentions. Is he hiding something? Could he have an ulterior motive? Lily, however, believes in him wholeheartedly. She's sure Leo's actions come from a good place. Shutina, though unsure, admits Leo has been nothing but helpful. So, they agree to keep trusting him for now, but also decide to keep a close eye on him, just in case. Later, Leo is summoned to the Queen's Hall. She informs him that General Edward has officially resigned and is now standing in the regular soldier ranks. This complicates things. Edward was a key pillar of their military strength. The Queen, visibly worried, asks Leo if he has any ideas. He offers to handle the situation himself. After a short pause, the Queen agrees. But she warns him once this issue is resolved, they must meet again to discuss another important matter. Leo doesn't like the sound of that, but accepts anyway. Elsewhere, a group of miners uncovers an ancient battlesuit armor once used to fight high-level demons. Leo explains to Yarieta and Lily that he plans to use this relic to combat an incoming threat. Meanwhile, Edward gives a farewell speech to his troops when suddenly, a gigantic war machine appears. Enraged, Edward orders his men to attack, but their weapons do nothing. The machine seems invincible. It fires a green beam that sends the soldiers running in fear. Edward, furious, charges in alone. The machine draws a glowing energy sword that nearly cuts him down. But just as disaster strikes, Leo appears, canceling his invisibility spell and landing between Edward and the blade. Leo calmly tells him, "I'm here to help. Let's bring this thing down together." As the massive battle rages on, Leo begins explaining the machine's abilities and weak points to Edward. He points out a vulnerable spot on its right side, urging Edward to strike there. But Edward, unfamiliar with this kind of enemy, struggles to grasp Leo's instructions. He insists that only a hero would know such things, not an ordinary warrior like him. Just then, Yarieta arrives and backs Leo up, telling her father that the robot's weak spot is indeed on the right. Edward, though hesitant, decides to trust their judgment. He charges forward with his sword and lands a direct blow, successfully disabling the robot. However, victory is short-lived. The machine starts emitting a loud alarm. It's calling reinforcements. Leo realizes that if more robots escape the mine, it could lead to catastrophic consequences. That's when the Queen herself arrives with her 3 generals. She orders the generals to protect the miners while she handles the oncoming machines. Having already known that Leo was secretly the Black Knight Onis, the Queen steps into battle, unleashing waves of intense fire magic that begin melting the robots. But they keep advancing. Frustrated, she hurls massive energy blasts that shake the ground beneath them. Watching the carnage, Murns quietly tells Shutina and Lily that the Queen is finally releasing the anger and tension she's carried for so long. Meanwhile, Leo uses this opportunity to scold Edward. He criticizes him for knowing so little about robots and other powerful threats, things a high-ranking warrior should understand. Edward doesn't argue. He admits he's never faced anything like this before. But Leo pushes harder, saying those are just excuses. The argument escalates until Yarieta intervenes, reminding Leo that not everyone is like him. He can't expect others to match his level without proper guidance. She urges Leo to help train Edward from the ground up, just as any good mentor would. Leo listens. And finally, Edward admits his mistakes. He apologizes to his soldiers, realizing that being a leader means more than just strength. It's about support and humility. The soldiers, though blunt with him, ultimately thank him. They were inspired by Edward and promised to continue fighting under his command. Edward, reinvigorated, swears to become the best leader possible, training alongside his men and not above them. The next day, Shutina visits Leo, who's reading a book. She informs him that later that day, the Queen will officially promote him to a leader rank, equal to that of the generals. She also mentions that Murns told her the real reason why Leo wants to join the demon army. Leo nods and says that in the upcoming meeting, he'll reveal everything honestly and promise not to betray them. But Shutina, after a thoughtful pause, warns him not to reveal his true identity yet, at least not until she gives the signal. If the queen finds out too soon that he was hiding his identity, she might react with fury, risking everything they've built. Before leaving, Shutina asks a personal question. Do they really have a chance of finding the Philosopher's Stone? Leo smiles lightly and assures her that, with her help, yes, they'll find it. Satisfied, Shutina departs with a cheerful promise to send word when everything is ready. Leo, left alone, returns to his book. But something about the illustrations catches his eye. The story of a goblin doesn't match what he remembers. This sparks a deeper memory. Leo recalls how the demon invasion truly began. It wasn't sudden chaos, but a slow burn sparked by the arrival of a goblin named Habrak. This demon told him that their kind hadn't come to exterminate humanity, especially not goblins like himself. According to Habrak, the portal that opened was the result of experiments by the demon king, Belial. This gateway between worlds allowed many demons, curious or desperate to escape the hellish war in their homeland, to cross into Earth. In their world, ruled by the tyrannical demon king Belial, constant war and lack of resources made life unbearable. Though Habrak tried to reason with Belial, nothing changed. Leo, intrigued, notes that the name Belial is also found in human books. Habrak grows nervous, fearing Leo might kill him for revealing too much, but he continues anyway. He says that, at some point, a demon noble must have visited the human world, reinforcing the idea that Belial orchestrated everything. When Leo asks why Belial opened the portal in the first place, Habrak explains, their world was running out of food, land, and resources. Belial found an uninhabited island on Earth and began transporting demons there. But soon, he opened more portals, the largest one being in Tokyo, which triggered full-scale war. Most demons didn't expect an invasion, they just wanted refuge. But by then, Belial had closed the gates, trapping them in the human world. Leo then asks the most crucial question. Do you think Belial and his nobles will try to colonize the human world again? Without hesitation, Habrak replies, yes, they will. Humans are too weak to stop them. Habrak, the little demon, reveals more shocking details about the past invasion. He explains that demon spies infiltrated the human world and fed key information to the Demon King, encouraging him to conquer humanity with his army. He also explains that high-ranking demons like the Alchuli were the ones who truly started the war. Demons of lower rank, like himself, were treated like garbage looked down upon, abused, and considered worthless. It was that cruelty along with the Demon King's tyranny that made Habrak dream of escaping his world. Feeling completely defeated, Habrak lies down on the ground, convinced that his fate is sealed and someone will eventually end his life. He offers Leo the chance to kill him, but instead of drawing his sword, Leo thanks him for the valuable information and tells him he won't kill him. He'll take him to a containment unit. Surprised, the imp follows Leo. Along the way, Habrak timidly asks a question that's been bothering him. What's your name? Leo, caught off guard, realizes this is the first time a demon has ever asked for his name. Habrak explains that his father taught him every creature born into this world has a name, and as long as someone remembers it, that person's existence will never truly vanish. Moved, Leo replies, I'm anti-demonic self-developing biological weapon. Demon Air Series number 05, H05 Leo. Habrak laughs at the mechanical-sounding name but quickly says it's the best name he's ever heard. As they keep walking, Leo explains how the Demon Gear warriors were created to protect humanity and battle against demonkind. He shares how he once received intel about a strange little demon spreading ideas of peace between demons and humans, and how he sought him out only to discover it was Habrak. Leo then asks Habrak why he said the life of a hero is a sad one. Habrak responds, if your only purpose is to protect humans, what will you do when the war ends? Leo, thoughtful, admits he would wait for another conflict, another threat. But Habrak sees it differently, living a life of endless fighting, with no rest and no dreams beyond battle that, to him, is true misery. He doesn't even see Leo as human, but rather as a creature doomed to fight forever. Trying to lighten the mood, Leo claims he's actually one of the weaker heroes, so he might die soon anyway. Habrak smirks and says he'll pray that Leo dies before becoming invincible. Leo laughs, genuinely thankful for the jab. Eventually, they reach the containment squad. Before parting ways, Habrak tells Leo that one day he'll find a way for humans and demons to live in peace, and when that happens, he wants a statue built in his honor to remember his goal. Leo wishes him luck, and tells him that humans will have to learn to coexist, whether they want to or not. As soldiers come to take him away, Habrak shouts one last message, if it ever hurts too much, go somewhere else. Do what you want, And if one day humanity doesn't need you anymore, that's your chance to finally live free. He yells, "I'll never forget your name, Leo. You better not forget mine." Leo nods, holding those words close. If his life ever changes, he'll keep that promise. That promise was made in Tokyo in the year 2060. Now, in the present, Leo knows that moment has finally arrived. Back in the present, the Queen issues a formal decree promoting the mysterious Dark Knight, Oni. Though he's a newcomer, his contributions have been immense. She believes that with his help, their search for the Philosopher's Stone won't be in vain. She wants him as a 5th general. Later, disguised as Onis, Leo meets the Queen for a high-level meeting. But before it can start, a young girl bursts in. The Great Spirit Portal is closing. Using powerful magic, the team manages to stabilize the portal, but they know it won't hold for more than a week. The Queen explains that if the portal shuts, they won't be able to return to the demon world, and it could take centuries or millennia to reopen it. She's faced with 2 options. Retreat to the demon realm, which would dissolve their army, since most of it is now made up of humans. Launch an attack on the human world to secure the Philosopher's Stone. Chutina presents both options, but the Queen immediately rejects war. Her forces are too weak, and their greatest obstacle remains: the legendary hero Leo. Unless they could eliminate Leo, they'd be defeated instantly. Chutina then asks Onis if he's ever faced Leo. He says no, but he's heard of his terrifying power. The Queen reminds them that Leo's true strength remains a mystery, and they can't risk it. Even if it costs her life, she won't let her soldiers suffer for her choices. That's why she chooses to disband the army and return with Chutina and Xian to the demon world. She knows this decision could trigger a civil war in her homeland, but it's the only path she sees. Lily tries to speak up about Leo, but Chutina stops her. The Queen rises, thanks them all, and quietly scolds herself for appearing so weak. As the Queen stands in silence, Leo interrupts her thoughts to remind her. She always dreamed of saving her people. The Queen confesses that the reason she trained so hard since childhood was to obtain the Philosopher's Stone. With it, she could create a miniature sun, bringing back vegetation, fresh air, and clean water to her dying kingdom. But now, she feels like all hope is lost. She explains that the Philosopher's Stone isn't some mythical object that grants wishes. It's an ancient mechanical relic, housing a micro-black hole capable of producing infinite energy. Somewhere, there's even a manual that explains how to use it, though it hasn't been found yet. Still, she admits that if she could get her hands on that stone, everything might change. That's when Leo drops the bombshell. There are actually 2 Philosopher's Stones in the world. Hearing this, the Queen is so moved she nearly cries. But as she turns around, she's stunned to find Leo, the very hero who defeated her, standing there in front of her army. In a flash, he drops his disguise as Onis, revealing his true identity. He apologizes, saying that deception was the only way he could join her ranks and determine if she was truly worthy of wielding the stone. He explains that during a dinner they once shared, he realized she was fighting for peace, not conquest. The Queen blushes, recalling that evening and all the secrets she spilled to Onis. Unaware she was talking to Leo the hero. Furious at the revelation, she unleashes a burst of magic toward him. Though she eventually calms down, she's still livid. Leo insists it was the only way to get close enough to help her. But the Queen yells back that she never would have trusted him had she known. She scolds herself for being so gullible. Thankfully, her generals speak up, reminding her how much Leo has helped them grow, both in strength and purpose. Slowly, she softens. She then asks the burning question, is the second Philosopher's Stone really real? Leo confirms it exists. It's located in a nearby mountain, guarded by an extremely powerful being, though he doesn't consider that a problem anymore. The Queen, still bitter about the deception, questions why Leo didn't just teleport to the site. But together, they decide to go to the mountain and seek the second stone. During the journey, Leo opens up. He tells her that this talk about giving her the stone was just a ruse, an excuse to buy time and have a real conversation. In truth, he's been researching the second stone for years, hoping to use it in a project that might bring true peace. But there's a catch. To use it properly, they'll need the manual, and the manual can only be accessed if humans and demons make peace. The Queen, initially skeptical of such a fantasy, starts to feel something shift. Maybe peace isn't impossible. Leo reassures her. It's not a fairy tale. It's something that actually happened long ago. He warns her that the path ahead will be full of pain and sacrifice. But she replies that she's willing to endure anything to achieve the peace her people deserve. Leo nods, with a touch of sorrow, saying he hopes she's strong enough to face every enemy, even if one day, that enemy is him. Suddenly, the tension lightens. The queen throws a snowball at Leo. He throws one back. Soon, they're caught in a playful snow fight, breaking down the distance between them. Watching from afar, her generals smile. The shift in their relationship is unmistakable. Afterward, as they sit together, the queen asks Leo, "Were you a scholar before becoming a warrior? You seem to know so much about the mechanical era, about the events from 3,000 years ago." That's when Leo finally reveals everything. He tells her he was born during that time, a product of the Demon Heir series, model H05. He's the 5th creation of the Manjar line. His abilities are extraordinary. He can copy any power he witnesses and improve it infinitely. He's lived for thousands of years, and his kind doesn't age or die naturally. All the other heroes are gone, he's the last. The queen is stunned, her mind reeling from everything. Leo admits that if he had known about her true motives from the beginning, he never would have fought her. The war for the Philosopher's Stone might have been avoided altogether. But fate had other plans, and somehow, all the pain and chaos brought them to this exact point. Then, Leo shares a darker side of himself. He confesses that part of him believes humanity cannot survive without him. Though he's always fought to protect them, deep down, he fears that the world has grown too dependent on his power. Worse, a part of him wonders if the world needs more wars just to give him a purpose. He says that if humans ever grow strong enough to survive without him, he might just leave, destroy the world, and then return to save it again. He doesn't say this as a villain, but as someone lost in an existential spiral. Before he can go on, Lily interrupts, marveling at the view around them. The rest of the group also notices. They're in a beautiful location, untouched and serene, but Leo's expression darkens. He turns to them and says, with cold clarity, "There's no guardian here, because I am the Philosopher's Stone. My heart is the infinite generator. If you want the stone, you'll have to kill me and rip it from my chest." He doubles down on his decision to quit the demon army and even wipe out humanity if they can't get the stone. The queen tries to talk him down, reminding him of his promise to do whatever it takes to bring peace. But Leo, defiant, launches an attack to stop her. At that moment, the queen recalls a warning from her childhood master. If she ever became queen, she must never fight a hero because doing so would mean her doom. With this memory, the attempt to reason with Leo intensifies, but he's dead set on destroying everything if that's what it takes. Tension explodes when Leo unleashes a brutal assault on the queen. The generals rush to intervene, begging him to stop, but Leo scoffs at them, calling them all useless, and fires a devastating strike at Edward, who steps in front to shield the queen. Chutina, the sorceress, jumps in, conjuring an obsidian cage to trap Leo, but he shatters it effortlessly and defeats her, mocking her weak magic. Despite the general's warnings, Leo keeps pressing, firing magical arrows at his enemies. In a desperate move to protect everyone, Edward shields Chutina, taking the magical arrows and suffering grave injuries. Seeing Leo's true intent to kill them all, Chutina realizes just how dire the situation is. The queen, exhausted and not fully recovered, knows she must find a way to get stronger to stand a chance at stopping him. It's her only hope to save the world. Lee steps in, trying to calm the tension with Leo. She reminds him of how, when they first met, he offered advice and always listened when she was struggling. Hopeful, she tells him he can share anything with her and she'll do everything to help. But Leo fires back that the real problem is how weak heroes are in general. To prove his point, he summons 2 lightning bolts in his hands and rips through Lily's body in an instant. She collapses, helpless and powerless. The queen, furious at this cruel act, reminds Leo he's no hero. A true hero with honor would never strike a defenseless opponent. Enraged, she charges with her sword while Chutina summons a spear of lightning aimed at Leo. But Leo just takes the hits calmly, smiling and saying, "Now you're finally serious." He challenges them, "Bring all your power if you truly want to save the world." Despite his serious wounds from the magic attack, Edward rises and responds to Leo. Thanks to his training, he knows how to find his enemies' weaknesses, though he admits he's never faced anyone like Leo, a true ally and great friend. In that moment, Edward unleashes his dragon blood, gaining a new armor and massive wings. The general rushes Leo with sword and fiery breath, but our hero easily dodges every strike. With a swift move, Leo stops Edward's sword barehanded, freezes the dragon blade, then incinerates the armor's scales with a blazing fire. One kick sends Edward crashing into a wall, knocked out cold. The queen and Chutina keep attacking with spells, but nothing phases Leo. Watching this, the queen realizes Leo's special ability isn't just offensate, lets him infinitely boost his defense. Suddenly, Mearns, a shadowy assassin who had been watching, appears and slashes at Leo's neck. The cut is shallow, but Mearns is shocked. Leo doesn't even flinch. The queen praises Mearns' skill, but knows the battle isn't over. Mid-fight, Mearns tries to interrogate Leo. Does he want to die or be killed? Leo answers with chilling calmness. He wants both. Someone must end his life, or else he will destroy the world himself. As they clash at blinding speed in the air, Mearns reproaches Leo. If that's what he wants, why join the demon army at all? He's only given them false hope. But Leo stands firm. He doesn't care about dying. What matters is that his legacy lives on. In this fierce exchange, Mearns' dagger freezes midair and drops uselessly to the ground. Leo remains untouchable. Then Lily, transformed into her ultimate form, charges at Leo, determined to stop him. She confesses she loves him deeply, and that's why she wants to stop his destructive path. But with an almost invisible movement, Leo fires a massive lightning bolt that instantly takes her out. The queen watches helplessly as their last hope shatters, realizing her only choice is to act fast. She calls on Chutina for help, and though unaware of the danger ahead, the sorceress vows to give it her all. While Chutina keeps Leo distracted with relentless attacks, the queen begins chanting an ancient spellone passed down through generations in her family. Her father, when handing her the throne, told her about this spell, crafted by the legendary sorcerer Astaroth, specifically to take down someone like Leo. The magic is insanely difficult to control. No demon king before her has ever dared use it. As the queen chants, a burst of blinding light shoots straight at Leo. Everyone expects him to dodge, but with a calm smile, he simply says, "Thank you," before being struck. Flashbacks reveal Leo's true origin, created solely to save humanity from evil. He fulfilled that mission during the demon invasion, but once peace came, he felt empty, purposeless. He tried to intervene in conflicts, but soon realized he had no reason left to fight. Over time, Leo concocted a dark plan recreating the very place of his creation and ordering the elimination of humanity, hoping that, by defeating them, he'd reclaim his lost heroism. Days later, the demon invasion arrived, and Leo realized how lost he'd become playing with weapons that endangered mankind. No longer the hero he once was. Then he met the queen unlike anyone else. She only wanted peace. That sparked his curiosity, and he began observing the demon army, wondering if she was worthy of his heart. He decided that if the queen could defeat the true demon king him, then maybe peace was possible after all. The battle rages on, and with the queen unleashing the anti-Leo spell, the fight takes a darker turn. Leo knows he must be stopped. He's become a threat to everyone. The spell traps him, and the queen feels the immense power flowing through her. Over 3,000 years of magic and strength now bound to her. Time is running out. Leo is frozen, unable to use his powers, feeling an overwhelming weight as everything slows down. The queen stands before him, confident and victorious despite the pain in her eyes. She's determined to succeed. She knows Leo was the one who defeated the other demon, King's the lonely soul who lived without friends or a place to die, doomed to eternal suffering in his mind. Leo hopes the queen will end him once and for all, so he can finally be free. As a hero, he failed, never trusting anyone, always fighting alone. He believes the queen will do well because she trusts her generals completely, making her a heroine in her own right. But deep down, Leo just wants to be accepted, to belong somewhere, and share his feelings with someone. He says a silent goodbye in his mind, thanking them for their kindness, and regretting he never had more time. He closes his eyes, waiting for death. Hearing his wish, the queen entrusts her 4 generals with the task to finish him. One by one, the generals attack with their best skills, apologizing for having to do this. Leo accepts the blows with resignation, knowing defeat is near. As he falls to the ground, a heavy silence fills the air. No one can believe what just happened. Moved by Leo's decision, the queen reflects on his lonely life, a fate no human could bear. Feeling the weight of his power fade, she screams with all her might, her voice echoing for miles. Leo, lying on the ground, admits he's finally lost and accepts his fate. The generals approach, and the queen asks if he enjoyed pretending to be the villain. Leo replies he always wanted to be more than a hero and that he enjoyed their fight. The queen scolds him for always wanting to be defeated, which led to his capture by the spell. Leo admits he did it to protect his loved ones, otherwise, they would have destroyed everything. He then reveals the Philosopher's Stone inside Haman emergency function locked away, with only 300 seconds left before it activates, meaning his final death. Lily refuses to let Leo die, but Edward stops her. As Chutina asks if he regrets anything, Leo answers no, leave his heart in good hands, but apologizes for the trouble he caused. Then the queen changes her mind. Knowing Leo has lived over 3,000 years, she officially appoints him to her army as a mediator between humans and demons. Leo urges them to act quickly, time is running out. The generals stay silent, agreeing with their queen's decision. Mern says he won't take the stone he's learned to analyze his opponent, and seeing Leo's will to live won't stand in his way. Chutina asks Leo why he wants to die, and he reveals he developed a strong personality that broke one of his orders to protect humanity. If he lives on, his ego would endanger the world. Chutina orders him to use that ego to break the order, and overwhelmed, Leo finally frees himself. The queen, witnessing this, asks if he still wants to die but offers exile and a chance to live alongside her. Leo remembers the imp's words to enjoy life and find a reason to keep living, even when all seems lost. With those memories and a new chance in mind, Leo accepts the queen's offer, becoming her ally and leaving behind his path as a hero. Days pass peacefully. Leo lives in the kingdom, helping however he can. One night, after a dinner with wine, the queen asks if he regrets choosing to live. Our hero answers Noah found his purpose, helping her achieve the peace she longed for. Touched by his words, the queen grows more open to trusting him. Together, they seal a pact for Leo to officially join her army. Just then, Gerrietta interrupts the romantic moment, embarrassing Leo. Life goes on, and the work never stops, but Leo and the generals commit to handling whatever comes next, always chasing their new purpose. And that's how this recap ends. If you made it this far, please subscribe and leave a like, it helps a ton. Until next time.